Now, years later, I realized that and I said, that was my strength that I didn't even know that I had in me.
Yeah.
But again, that's how people, they put you in a box and they want to keep you in that small box. And it's a way they can control you or say that you don't matter anymore until you matter again.
You know, something that keeps coming up, and you know, it's going to continue to be there because it's just a society that we live in, and it's about race. And someone posed a question to me recently, and they said, what do you prefer to be referred to when it comes to race? Like, you know, white people, they're really not white, but they're referred to as white, and black people, we're not like black, like VCR black. You know what I'm saying?
Then we became Negro. Then we became Afro. Before the Afro-American came, we became, no, we became Afro-Americans, then we became black, then we became African-Americans. So you see somebody as black, it's not the truism of what, people of color are about, but it's just a tag to get you. I don't know if it's really, for me personally, it's important what somebody calls me or what I have to identify with. I know I'm a black man.
I think about it in the way that, the way that we think of white and black as being things that are real or exist. These are social constructs that were created for a particular purpose. And I think it came to categorizing people hierarchically in society when it came to power. We're English, we're Scottish, until it was like, oh, wait a second, we're trying to dominate this other group of people. We need to make sure that we're identified separately until we became this collective white and they're the black, which we're underneath of. And I think for myself, I think of it as it's grown to be something that was meant to be very negative and was meant to be dehumanizing. But I think we collectively across the diaspora of blackness have made it something that is a point of pride. And it's something that we recognize. And to me, it's something that is beautiful. There is really only one race if you come down to it. And so it's important, I think, for me to keep that in mind while also realizing that these social constructs that have been created, they exist and they affect our lives as well.
That type of stuff would piss me off, but being called African American or black, I mean, honestly, I probably prefer being just called black.
You know, the thing about it, I like being called an American because I am an American. But I mean, if we have to generalize, I've never been offended by African American, but I don't think that that's the clear depiction of who we are. But I'm talking to this brother, and he says, "What took you so long to come home, brother?" I said, "Oh man, I was under the impression that y'all didn't like us. They don't want us to unite."